Hello, everybody. Welcome to the, what is it, June 12th?
June 12th.
June 12th. Lunch with the Mayor. So glad to have you. We're going to be having a great conversation with Cindy Baker here, and she'll be introducing herself here shortly. But want to just welcome you. If you have questions, as always, and you're watching on the live stream, please go ahead and put it in the comment section. We'd love to answer questions you have, whether it's about Troy School or whether it's about city things, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and put that into the comment section. As always, if you're watching on YouTube later, you can email me at rdaniel@columbiacity.net. You can get on to send our, call our office. You can get on YouTube, and I don't know, you can make comments on YouTube, but you can contact us in lots of different ways. I'm going to go ahead and load up this so I make sure I see all of the questions and stuff that come up, but we'll go ahead and get started. So, Cindy, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having me.
that.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and I've already said your name, but introduce yourself a little bit. Who you are, your position, your background, all that kind of good stuff.
Sure. My name is Cindy Baker, and I am the executive director of Troy School, and that includes my responsibilities of making sure everything is operational in the school for the school year. I've been in this position for almost 8 years now. I came to this role. I started out at Troy as a teacher, and within the first year was approached by the leadership there to talk about maybe moving into the director role. My career has been not only in education, but also in the not-for-profit field. And so because I had experience working with board of directors and doing fundraising and grant writing, they thought that I might have the skill set that's needed in order to be the director for this school. And so I have loved Troy School for many years before I was even there. I learned about Troy when I worked for an organization that partnered with Troy.
Okay.
And so I really just fell in love with what they were doing and the stories of impact that they were making. And I thought to myself, when I'm ready to make that change, I want to do something for the Troy School.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And I know that that path has been interesting to get to the executive director position. And you talked a little bit about it, but ultimately, Troy School is, and we're going to talk about what Troy School is here in a moment, but it's really kind of a specialized program, right? And so, what kind of maybe, the background, the skills, those kind of things kind of led you to the position?
Sure. So my undergraduate degree is in secondary education. I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't stay in that field. Whenever I started having children, I only wanted to work part-time. And back then, when I was having kids, there really weren't a lot of part-time high school jobs. And so I found some positions within the not-for-profit field and seemed to enjoy that because it allowed me to work part-time and be home with my kids on a part-time basis as they were growing up. And like I said, when I was in those roles, I had partnerships with Troy. And so that is what really led me to want to work with Troy or be a part of that organization. And like I said, when I left the organization I was with and came to Troy, I was just thinking I was just going to be a teacher. That's what I was going to do. But within a year's time, there was some transitions that were going to be happening. And they approached me and I thought, I think I can do this. And so I said yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about it. I'm going to switch a couple of our questions around here, but so what is Troy School? Where's it located? What does it do for individuals out there that have no clue? And they don't even know what Troy is. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
So Troy School is a very small private school here in Whitley County. We have evolved from what started out as an after-school program that was actually part of the Community Corrections Department here with the Whitley County, under the Whitley County umbrella, and originally just an after-school program working with kids that were on juvenile probation. And so they were then court ordered to be in a program that was after school where they got homework help. They did some community services. They had a meal together. They had free time just so those kids could go someplace after school and not be out doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing
Structure.
to reoffend.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Gave them
structure.
some structure. And so from there, we just evolved to becoming a day reporting program for
Okay.
schools.
Okay.
We had partnerships with the local school corporations. And if they had a student that needed to be out of their environment for whatever reason, suspension, or in lieu of expelling them, they would then report to what was Troy at the time. And so as that was happening, and that was all before my time, I wasn't part of the organization then. They kind of looked around and said, we think we could become our own school. And so this all coincided with the Choice Scholarship Program when it was created in the state of Indiana. And so once that became a program through the state of Indiana, then Troy applied to become a school that's accredited through the Department of Education.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause you before you go further. So a lot of people may remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a little building that was near Columbia City High School. I feel like it was on Whitley Street, right?
Okay,
And
the Diamond Center.
The Diamond Center, and that's
Yes.
different. Is that different?
It was different.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes there is, again, if you're not directly impacted by it, there's a lot of different places, and there's the Center for Whitley County Youth behind us as well, right? So there's a lot of different places that are all typically geared towards students. But when it came to Troy School, really, it's a focus on how can you take, students that maybe aren't in the, let's say that maybe they don't fit as well in the traditional setting, and you can still provide them the same kind of, or maybe even better, depending on how you look at it, the education, and prepare them for life.
Absolutely. So our niche is probably students that have some behavioral issues that are creating some disruptions in the classroom. And because of those disruptions, then maybe that classroom teacher at a traditional school can't really do all the things that they would like to do because there's continual disruption by a particular student. And so those are the kinds of students that seem to work well at Troy because we can give them more attention. And we can give them a lot more supports that they probably need, as well as just individualized education help with any class that they might have. So yes.
So along that line, if so when a student either chooses to go to Troy or gets directed that way, or whatever the case is, what does a day look like compared to, let's say, at CCHS?
Yeah, so I think our day looks a lot similar to what their day looks like. Whenever I take people on a tour when they're thinking about sending their student to Troy, I say, we're really old school in the fact that we do a lot of things by textbook and pencil and paper. We have 7 class periods like a regular school would have, a lunchtime. We have those components that make us very similar to what they would be experiencing in a traditional school environment. But what makes us different is our size. We're very small. Like, we will never serve at this point in time more than 50 students at any given time because we just don't have the physical space. And you asked me where we were located. We're actually located out off of Business 30 East towards Pages Crossing. There's a very smallish building on the, I guess it would be the left-hand side of the road. And you'll see a sign that says Troy Teaching and Reaching Our Youth. And that is our building. We actually moved in there in 2017 with the help of the Community Foundation of Whitley County. But since then, we have grown in our student population and actually are trying to figure out what our next steps are. We need to be able to serve some more students. We'll never be large. I don't ever foresee us being more than 75, 80, maximum maybe 100 students, because we want to maintain that small feel and that individual attention that we can give to students. But right now we're busting at the seams.
So you kind of breeze by it, but I think it's really important. Troy isn't like Etna Troy. It actually stands for something.
Well, actually,
So
yes. So
I mean, it's connected, but it's not. It
there is a connection.
Yes, there's a connection.
Yes.
But okay, go ahead.
So Troy, in and of itself, I call them nomads. Like they were at place to place to place to place, and they finally, I think, landed on a place to actually do the work they were doing on a regular basis out at the old Etna Troy school. And so they were there for several years. And as they were trying to figure out, what should we call ourselves, they came up with Troy because that's where they were.
Sure.
But really stands for teaching and reaching our youth, because what we do isn't just academic. We try to bring a holistic approach to education and try to take care of the entire student.
Sure.
We're offering mental health help throughout the day that's free to students. We provide a success coach to every student who meets with them on a weekly basis to find out how the classes are going, set some goals with them, talk to them about any behavior issues that might have been happening in classrooms. And then they also will reach out to families as a proactive measure, not just, we have an issue with your student, but this is going really well for your student this week, so that we can create that relationship with the family and not just with the student.
Gotcha. And I think what's interesting for people to understand is like, again, I think society in general tries to make sure that all the pegs fit in the same hole, right? And while I think maybe society has shifted a little bit more to more individualized, right? I mean, we can have it our way anytime we go to a restaurant, right? But for education, it traditionally has been about the same thing for many, 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 many years, right?
Right.
And so I think the cool thing about Troy School is while you still have that basic tenet of education, it is really, if you have a square peg, you're finding a square hole. If you have an oval peg, you're trying to find an oval hole, right?
Right.
And so I think that's a really kind of a cool thing that if if residents were to tour your building, right, I think that they would see that. But maybe describe that a little bit. If there was a resident that wanted to tour Troy School to just see what was happening, what would that look like?
Yeah, we do that quite often, bringing people in who want to take a tour. Not just maybe because they're they're thinking of sending their student there, but donors in the community, partnerships that we have in the community. We look pretty much like a regular school, I would say. Some of the things that make us different or unique is the class sizes, which I've already mentioned. But whenever they come through, they'll see, maybe more interaction between the teachers and the students. We're not one student to a device school. We've never have been. We have computers in rooms for students to use for purposes of assignments and things like that, but we don't use Google Classroom. We are very much old school when it comes to those kinds of things. What we're really focused on is building a relationship with our students in order for them to have the success that will get them through to get that high school diploma.
High school diploma. And ultimately that's the goal, right? The goal is obviously a well-rounded student that graduates with a diploma, right?
Yes.
And on that note, a couple weeks ago, I got the opportunity to go and celebrate with some of the graduates this year, and got to give them a little mailbox, as we do also at CCHS and stuff. But I think it was really cool to see their positive outlook, right? That like, and again, I don't know all their backgrounds. I don't know what all has happened or didn't happen or things like that. But I will say the cool thing was they were just as excited to graduate as anyone would be, number one. But number two, and maybe more importantly, is that the kind of sense of pride. Like the fact that they accomplished it. And I think it shows how much the staff have poured into them, right? That you could tell there was definitely that level of respect with the staff members that were there and all that kind of stuff. By the way, if you have questions about Troy School or anything else, go ahead and put it in the chat. I am monitoring that sort of. So,
I would just interrupt you and say the staff there is phenomenal.
Yes.
Not just at the jobs that they do at Troy, but just as human beings. Like they're really invested in what happens to our students. And graduation is really, for me, the best night of the school year because they are I tell them, you need to be proud of yourself because of the things that they've overcome
Yes.
to make it to that point.
Yeah.
They have to feel good about themselves. And a lot of them have come to us behind in credits. And
Mhm.
so they've had to do some extra work to
Yes.
get caught up in order so that they can graduate with a high school diploma. So it's such a great evening.
Yeah.
I love that event.
I'll tell you, I have a few friends that graduated from Troy, and I think they would say that it really was a lifesaver for them because of things that were happening in their
Absolutely.
family and
Mhm.
school and things like that. That Troy was really a lifesaver and was the perfect fit for them, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think that actually leads right into the next question, which is, what are the requirements, if there are any, to
Mhm.
attend Troy School?
Sure. So we'll accept any student who
Mhm.
wants to attend Troy.
Mhm.
Like I said, historically we've served students that may have behavior issues or may just be really struggling in a
Yeah.
traditional school environment for a variety of reasons. But we also have seen a little bit of a shift in that we have seen some kids that just don't want to be in a really large school environment. They
Yeah.
have some anxiety,
Yep.
and being around hundreds of kids every day is overwhelming for them.
Sure.
And so they have found a home at
Mhm.
Troy, which has
Yeah.
been wonderful for us.
Yeah.
I would say that just so people are aware, we don't offer AP classes.
Mhm.
Right now, we don't ourselves offer dual credit. We do partner with Whitco Career Academy for the CTE pathways, and kids can earn dual credit through the Career Academy.
Yep.
But if those things are important to your student, right now, that's not the type of student that we really have the
Yeah.
most success with because they're already motivated to do
Yeah.
more.
Yep.
A lot of times we get phone calls from parents that just say, my student failed every class last year. I don't know what to do with him.
Mhm.
Or my daughter just doesn't want to do any of the work. I don't know what to do, but I want her to get a high school diploma.
Yeah.
And so we bring those students in and we do what we can to motivate them.
Sure.
But again, like I said, the main thing for us is to
Mhm.
start building that relationship with the
Yeah.
student
Yes.
and build that trust so that
Absolutely.
then they will, in turn, know that we're there. We're
Mhm.
there to support them. We can help them however they need help, and we'll get the work done.
Yeah. Well, I think what's important also for residents to understand is it's like it's not really a competition between WCCS, between you, between Whitco, etc. Like at the end of the day, it's really trying to figure out where the student fits best. Where can they be the
Absolutely.
most successful, right? We
Mhm.
wouldn't want we wouldn't want a doctor to go work in an ice cream store. We wouldn't want a trash hauler to go be my dentist. Like
Right.
you got to find the spot that's most fits well, if you will, for those
Absolutely,
students. And
yes.
that's why
Mhm.
there is a need for options like Troy
Right.
because traditional school may not be what's best for everybody out
Absolutely. And we definitely don't look at ourselves as any kind of competitor
Sure.
to any public school.
there. Right.
But we want to be a partner to public schools.
Absolutely.
And if they have a need and if they see a student that's not successful in their own environment, then we want to be able to be a place where they could reach out to us
Yeah.
and say, we have this student. They're not being successful in our environment. We think that your organization might be able to help them
Sure.
in the long run.
In the long run.
Mhm.
And so unlike public school, however, tax dollars don't necessarily go to you, right? I mean certain tax dollars, let's say,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So I think that's probably a good time to opportunity to talk about how is Troy School funded, because
Sure.
it is not funded like your traditional school is, right?
It's not funded like a traditional school. We about a third of our budget's a little over $1 million.
Okay.
About a third of that comes from the state of Indiana through the Choice Scholarship
Mhm.
voucher, and the rest of it we raise.
You raise, yeah.
We write a lot of grants. We do fundraising events. So 2/3 of our budget we are responsible for making sure that we have that in order to
Yeah.
operate every year.
Yeah, and so along that line, obviously you have at least one major event. I think you have more than one, but you want to talk about that a little bit about how you do raise funds besides grants,
Yes.
obviously.
Yeah. So a good amount of our money does come from grant writing, but we do raise quite a bit of money through fundraising events and just individual donors
Hmm.
who have an interest in what we're doing, who want to see kids succeed, who want to see kids get a high school diploma. And so those kinds of people we're trying to build relationships with and partnerships with in order to raise the funds that we need
Yeah.
annually in order to operate the school.
Gotcha. Okay, talk about the events.
The events.
Yeah.
So, Band Together, we just had our Band Together event on
Mhm.
May 30th, and it was out at the Shrine Horse Patrol grounds. And it is a music festival. We usually have two bands. We started out years ago with three bands, but now we've shortened it to two. We have two amazing bands, food trucks, and it's just kind of a celebration of what we accomplish at Troy. And we raise funds for scholarships for students. Last year, I think Troy gave out about $180,000 worth of scholarships.
Okay.
And so we have to raise quite a bit of money
Yeah.
for the scholarship portion of what we do in order to help parents afford being able to attend Troy.
Yeah.
But then we also have had another event in the spring called the Friends of Troy School Luncheon, which we are actually doing in September this year. And it's actually just to raise awareness for people that might not know much about us, to give them a little more detail about how we operate and the things that we do and
Mm.
what make us unique and different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So if someone's out there, obviously we just missed Band Together, but if someone's out there and they're like, man, I'm excited about what you're doing, or I'd like to come take a tour or learn more,
Absolutely.
or heck, I have a student that is just really struggling through the public school system or another school, and this may be a perfect option for them. How do they contact you or the organization to kind of take those steps, either as a donor or maybe as a parent or just as a curious citizen?
Absolutely. I think the first thing would be just to contact the school via email. Our offices are closed over the summertime right now, and email is the best way to contact us because we are checking that about once a week. And the office email is office@troyalternativeschool.com. That's the easiest way, I think, to get a
Okay.
hold of us. We are on social media. You can reach out to us via Facebook and say, hey, I saw you with the mayor. I'd like more information. Can I come in for a tour?
Yeah.
And we'll respond and schedule a time for you to come in and
Yeah.
learn more about Troy and possibly how we can partner with you to help you with whatever your need is.
Absolutely. I did have one comment from Carrie who said, I think this is awesome having Troy, Mary Rayburn Montessori, Eagle Tech as options outside traditional lecture style schooling is great. We went so long without having those options, so this is fantastic. So thanks for your comment.
Which
there,
is
Carrie. So-
interesting, yes, but Troy has been around as a school since 2013.
Yeah, yes.
So you're right.
Yes.
People just don't know enough about us.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate
Yeah.
you having me here
No,
to
and again,
talk a little bit more about Troy.
I think that's the thing is that I really, there's so many components to the community, right? I think we were talking about this before we started, but there's so many things happening in the community that general citizens just don't know because they're not being impacted by it, right?
Absolutely.
But in reality, they are in a kind of a peripheral way, right? I would imagine, I could be wrong, but I would imagine the majority of the students that graduate out of Troy School probably stay around here.
Yes.
They're probably individuals that are working in this community.
Yes.
They're probably individuals that are going to, if they don't have a family already, are going to have a family in this
Absolutely,
community.
yes.
And so I think that's what's so cool is that it's an investment in the future is really what it is.
It really is. It's so important for a community to make sure that students earn a high school diploma. Statistics show that if a student doesn't earn a high school diploma, then that community will pay out, I think the number I saw was $292,000 in social services over that student's lifetime. But when they have a high school diploma, they'll
Yep.
earn more money,
Yep.
they'll contribute more to the local economy, all of these things. And that's why it's so important for us to be there.
Mhm.
Because I think if you would ask every single one of those grads,
Yep.
they would have thought that wasn't going to be possible for
Yes,
them to earn a
yes.
high school diploma.
And you know what I really appreciate about you and your staff is just the heart that you put into it, right? Like I know that this is something where It isn't a career made out for everybody,
Mm-mm,
right? I think
mhm.
you're talking earlier. If I were ever to become a teacher, it would not be for the littles. It would be for the olders.
Right?
But I'm not even sure in the environment how well I would fare at
Mhm.
Troy, right? And so I think the interesting part is you have found a really strong team that is dedicated. They have a heart for service. They have a heart for these
Mhm.
kids, and what it's doing is legitimately changing lives. Sometimes
Mhm.
changing family trees, right?
Absolutely,
And I know you've
yes.
seen that firsthand, and I really appreciate the work that you and your team are doing. Last call for those that are watching on the live stream. If there's questions out there, I did get another question. Is there a certain age you must be to go
Oh,
to
yes.
Troy?
I'm so sorry. So we serve students in 7th through 12th grade. They've they've made some changes at the state level with regards to 6th grade. We used to serve 6th graders, but because of all the changes that have happened, it's just not feasible for to continue to try to have 6th graders
Mhm.
financially. And so we have 7 through 12, and like I said, the total that we can serve right now in our physical space is
Yes.
about 50 kids.
Yes, and I'll also say just along that I know this is not the reason, but the difference between a fifth grader and a sixth grader and a sixth grader and a seventh grader, maturity wise,
Hmm.
is night and day, night and day,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure it's even night and day between a seventh grader and a senior
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure. For
So,
sure.
well,
Mhm.
excellent. Well, if there aren't any other questions, Cindy, I want to thank you so much. One
Yeah.
last time, people can get a hold of you at.
Office at troyalternativeschool.com or through Facebook Messenger. You can message the Troy Facebook page. I believe it's Troy Teaching and Reaching Our Youth, which is what the Troy stands for. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
Cindy.
It was good
It's
to
as
see you.
always, it's good seeing you and good having a
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank
So,
you.
so again, if you have an interest in finding out more about Troy School, if you have more of an interest about whether your student is there or whether you want to contribute or anything like that, that is the place to go. So we're going to jump into some additional project updates. We have a lot of things that are happening in the city, as it always seems to be the case. And again, if you have city questions, please put them in the chat if you're watching live stream. If you're on YouTube, rdaniel at columbiacity.net, or you can call the office at 260-248-5111. Also, contact me on Facebook as well. Comprehensive plan. The plan is completed. It is adopted. This is the last comprehensive plan update that you will hear from me going forward, unless you have questions about it. People actually can view our new and updated plan on the city's website at columbiacity.net. That plan was updated. A lot of the bulk of it is changing some of the zoning to be a little bit more flexible in the different residential zoning pieces and things to that effect. There are some goals that we have taken off the list because we've accomplished them. There are goals that we've refined because over time things have changed, and there's also new goals in there as well. I do have, here's a couple of questions. Here we go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. So let me get to those real quick. Christy says, now that we have a code enforcement officer, where is he patrolling within the city? Just curious due to golf carts on the trails, which according to city ordinance is not allowed. That is true. Seems that many are not aware of this. The trails are fantastic, and I don't want them deteriorating prematurely. The Parks Department does a great job maintaining everything. Thank you, Christy. So our code enforcement coordinator, he has been, in fact, I've given him many different projects or many different addresses of things. We've had lots of people call in, things like that. I would say that traditionally speaking, the code enforcement coordinator is probably not so much focused on golf carts. That would be probably more of a police thing or a parks thing, if you will. So if you see that, feel free to call our dispatch and let them know what's going on, or also maybe our park staff. Let them know what's happening as well. Code enforcement is really more focused on property. So whether it's high weeds and grass, whether it's junk vehicles or accumulation of scrap metal or dilapidated buildings, which we actually partner with the building and or planning and building department on that. That's really more of where the code enforcement officer's kind of focus is. But you are correct in saying that golf carts are not supposed to be on the trail. There is one caveat to that, though, I will say, and that is that the council and the park board have approved that golf carts can utilize the trail between Mortius Park and Demone Grimes to go up and down that trail in order to discourage, let's say, people going across US 30 on their golf carts. So I will tell you that that is a small section, but the rest of the trail is not supposed to be utilized by golf carts. So Paul asked, I'm under the impression that Columbia City High School is in the city now. As far as I can tell, there's no safe or maybe legal way to get a golf cart to the school on 9. Are there any plans to make it safe and legal? Good question, Paul. I would say I do think that there is some ability to drive a golf cart to the school on I think there's a way to get there on 9. I don't think you're maybe supposed to be on there, so that's a good question. I am not 100% sure. Good question. So I'd have to look at that. I will tell you that the trail that does go to the high school, that is a pedestrian and biking trail. It is not for golf carts. So I would say, generally speaking, you're probably right that there's not a good way to get golf carts there. The only caveat I would give to that is that theoretically, you could go up 50 and then just take a little jaunt over from 50 East, I believe it is, over onto the high school property. But again, you're going to be on State Road 9 for just a hot second there. I understand that's definitely not the safest way to be. So I guess that's probably the best answer I have. I don't believe we have any plans currently to extend to provide additional golf cart access to that trail or anything like that. But certainly if that's an interest you have, I would suggest maybe contacting the park board and or your city council member, as they're the ones that obviously write, well, city council is the one that writes the laws and the park board is the one that really handles some of the rules and regulations for trails. So that may be a good opportunity for you there. So, and you also say there's a section of the trail that golf carts are allowed on between Kroger and Park. Yes. So, hopefully that's the best answer I can. Well, hopefully that's at least somewhat of an answer for you. Is that if you do want to go to the school property from the city, that you consider going over to 50 East and go up 50 East and then kind of jaunt over to the school campus that way. But you're right, there's not a lot of good ways to do that. That is true. So that's actually a perfect segue to Blue River Trail on the south side. I keep saying that it's going to happen, that the railroad crossing is going to be improved, things like that. We've hit another hang up with the railroad. I wish I had a better answer for you. We keep working on it. It's a kind of a bit of a frustration because we just cannot get the progress on that get that trail finished. We have the money set aside. We're ready to go. It's just a matter of getting the railroad to approve it. So that is a current challenge. So former Whitley County Jail, we did put a request for proposals out. We did receive a submission on that request for proposals. The redevelopment commission, however, rejected it due to the cost of the actual what was presented. We are now in a 30-day silent period or quiet period, if you will, and then we can go to the table and negotiate with that developer to figure out if there's ways in which we can come to a common ground and agreement. So that's where we're at with the former jail. Eagle Park, the amphitheater design is still occurring. We are hoping to break ground this fall. That design obviously that's what we're waiting on right now. The firm that we selected, which is Meyer Nasium, will provide a maximum guaranteed price, and the city obviously will have to decide at that point whether to move forward or to stop the project. At that point, we will have to finance it. We have created a building corporation, just like the library did, and just like the school did when they did kind of larger building projects. We have now done the same thing to create the building corporation in order to build the amphitheater. If for some reason, though, the amphitheater comes in at a price that we don't believe we can afford, or a price in which we can't do, then we're really no harm, no foul, to be fair. So I will tell you that that's kind of where we're at the moment. Once the design gets done, then we'll have the guaranteed maximum price, and then we'll be able to decide whether we're moving forward or not. So I did see a couple more things come in here. One more thing. Christy says, I've talked to Matt at the Parks Department, just wanted clarification since I'm by a trail to Morses Park via Columbia Parkway. Yeah, good question. It's a good statement, I guess I'd say. There is a crossover point there, as you well know. There's a crossover point out of River Run Court that does go across to Morses Park. I don't know specifically if we really do allow, because it's not officially trail. It's more like sidewalk-ish. It's not officially a part of the Blue River Trail. But long story short is that I have seen golf carts go across there. Frankly, I would rather that than them go on 205. So I'm not sure. Good question. I wish I had a better answer for you. So, dog park. The dog park at Morses Park is about halfway to opening. We are about halfway there. The fencing is up. We are working now on the electronics to get in and out of the actual gate. You can, if you go by, I think you can actually see the small dog area versus the large dog area. But like I said, working on the electronics. Again, I want to stress and reiterate, there will be a registration process. There will be a fee to use the dog park, and the reason for that is because we have to do some kind of a mechanism to ensure that dogs and people that are using the park are using that dog park are safe, that people are picking up after themselves, that the dogs are all up to, that they've all gotten their shots, they're up to date on their vaccinations, all that stuff. The last thing we want is to create a unsafe environment for dogs and their owners. And so, long story short, that is some of the pieces that we're working on right now, and hope to have more information in the coming even weeks, but probably at least within the next month. Jeffrey Drive's water main. This is, I think, probably the slowest sidewalk project we've had. We have a private contractor that's working on the sidewalks and the driveway kind of ramps and things like that. We've really hit two issues. One is rain. But number two, and of course that affects the base, and so we want the base to be solid before we build the sidewalk on top of it and the curbs too. But I would say the other part of that is actually concrete has been kind of hard to get a hold of. We've talked to the contractor, and he's had a hard time of getting concrete fairly quickly. So we're working on it. I did see that they were there this morning. So the sidewalks are still being poured. They're still working on it. Thank you to the Jeffrey Drive individuals for your patience on that. I know this has not been fun, and I'm really sorry. Good thing is you have a brand new water line, and you're going to have brand new sidewalks when this is over. Thank you for your patience on that. So, okay, good. We're good. Westgate Phase 3, we received bids. We awarded the bid to Fleming Excavating at, I don't think this past one, but maybe 2 meetings ago. That bid was actually below our engineer's estimate, so that's a real positive thing. Ends up saving everybody some money. As a reminder, we have $1 million grant from the Indiana Department of Transportation to finish Westgate Phase 3. Once a timeline is established, so now that we've given the notice to proceed, they're working on the timeline, all that kind of stuff. Once we get that timeline, we will create and send out to the neighbors a meeting and opportunity for the residents to all be able to ask questions about what's going to happen, what's the project, what's the timing, how are we going to phase it in such a way to allow people to get in and out of their driveways, all that fun stuff. So I'm hopeful we'll be able to call a meeting within about the next month. Let me back up. I'm hopeful to call the meeting within the next month and having the actual meeting probably in the July, August, early August timeframe. I'm going to guess we'll break ground. I think we're going to break ground this fall. Again, I don't have a timeline yet, so we're still working on all of that stuff. But I'm excited to get Westgate Phase 3 completed for sure. Downtown project, we're still working on the preliminary engineering report. You're going to hear me say that for at least another 1 or 2, maybe 3 sessions, 3 lunch with the mayor sessions. but we are looking at underground and above ground infrastructure. So we're planning to extend our stormwater line up Chauncey Street to capture stormwater along this whole area. We're talking about replacement of sewer, we're talking about replacement of water lines, probably redoing some of the electric for sure, curbs, sidewalks, resurfacing the streets. We're going to redo parking. So I know it's going to be a mess, but we're hoping that in 2028 we will do that project. So just stay tuned. More information on that hopefully will be coming. America 250. This is the biggest topic right now. And if you hear nothing else, please tune in and be sharp about this part of the meeting, about the Lunch with the Mayor program, because there is so much going on to celebrate the semi-quincentennial celebration of America, meaning the 250th birthday of the United States of America. So we are excited to participate in that. We have a couple of things going on right now. First, we have a decorating contest that's happening right now. If you have not taken the opportunity, excuse me, if you've not taken the opportunity to decorate your house, we encourage you to still do that. You can decorate the outside of the house for both daytime and nighttime. And we are starting to go around the city and starting to look at those decorations. We will award one per council district as well as one overall. So there'll be 5 award winners for the decorating in the patriotic decorating, if you will, of America 250. So that is happening right now. So this weekend, if you have time, get out, decorate your houses. I know the Historical Society is selling the patriotic buntings, BUNTING bunting. That I think they're selling it for $10 per bunt or bunting, something like that. So that's an option, but obviously decorating red, white, and blue, American flags, all that kind of good stuff. We'd love to see that and show your patriotism in that way. If you haven't noticed, we have banners now on State Road 205 and State Road 9. Those banners are honoring our servicemen and women, that obviously not everybody, but honoring many of our servicemen and women. And so that is part of the America 250 celebration. There are 3 murals that are being painted, drawn, whatever, right now, that will capture life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is happening as a kind of it's supposed to be a traveling exhibit that should be happening here very shortly. I've seen one of the 3 paintings, I guess, really, really cool. And so I'm excited for those to get unveiled. I anticipate they will be unveiled on July 4th, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. So that's happening as well. July 2nd, we have the Stars, Stripes, and Symphony event happening in downtown Columbia City. This is to replace the First Friday event for July. Typically, First Friday would be July 3rd because of the fireworks and everything at the park. Columbia City Connect has graciously moved their kind of First Friday event to the 2nd. And it won't be like First Friday. It'll be different, but it's going to be really worth your time and energy to come out and see it. It is called Stars, Stripes, and Symphony. It will be happening here in downtown. Let me tell you some of the things that are going to be a part of it. There's going to be a Dixieland band. There's going to be, we're going to give out those America 250 decorating contest awards that day or that night. Boy Scouts are going to be there. Whitco Marching Band. We're going to have the reading of the Declaration of Independence, the preamble of the Constitution, etc. There's going to be the Indian Springs Middle School Choir that's going to be there. The Lawrence C. Wolf Memorial Community Handbell Choir will be there. There'll be readings of the Gettysburg Address and lots of other events, readings, music. It is going to be a great opportunity for people to come down, bring your lawn chairs, come and enjoy and celebrate America's independence and specifically the 250th birthday of America at the Stars, Stripes, and Symphony event on July 2nd. Start time is at 6:30. It'll go till roughly 8:15. And it's just going to be a wonderful event. I think it's going to be well worth your time, well worth your while. So come on down to that. Next up, and I will answer, Tammy, I see that you have a question. I will answer that very shortly. Just stick with me for another couple minutes. July 3rd, we will be having our annual Independence Day celebration at Mortius Park from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. The band Cheyenne will be there to perform, and we're excited to have that. Fireworks will be around that 10 o'clock-ish, 10:15 time frame. Here's what I want to say, and I've hinted at this multiple times, so I'm going to be a little bit more straightforward about this time. If you are some of those individuals that want to kind of stay away from the hecticness of the park, if you're some of those individuals that go to your parking lots around the park area, or you watch from your home or things like that, I really, really, really want to encourage you to consider coming down the park this year. I know it's an inconvenience. I know it takes time. I know you have to have lots of patience because there's lots of people there. But I want to encourage you to come down to the park this year specifically. And the reason I'm asking you to do that is because we are going to have some special fireworks that you may not be able to see from other locations that you'll be able to see at Mortius Park. And again, we're doing that specifically in celebration of America 250. More than anything, whether you're there for the fireworks, whether you're there for the food trucks, whether you're there to hang out with your friends, or whether you're there to have the kids, jump on the bounce houses, listen to Band Cheyenne, any of those things. I really want to encourage you to come down. And more than anything else, I just think it's a great representation of who we are as a community. I love looking across the crowd, seeing old friends see each other, seeing kids running around and playing, on the swing sets or playing on on the bounce houses or things like that. I love seeing strollers coming up and people crossing paths and they haven't seen each other for a year, 2 years or whatever, and connecting with one another. You can see, it's these kind of events that I love so much because I love our community and I love the fact that our community loves each other. And so I hope that you'll consider coming down to Mortius Park that day. I know there's a lot of people. I know it can be a hassle. I know it takes a lot of patience after the fireworks are over. But I think you're going to want to be down at the park this year. So consider it. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be worth your while to come downtown or come down to Mortius Park that night for fireworks. Okay? Last thing, well, really two things. Last two things I'm going to say about America 250. July 4th, we are opening a 50-year time capsule that has sat in front of City Hall for the last 50 years. 1976, our community gathered to plant a time capsule here in Columbia City in front of City Hall. And I'm honored that I am mayor at a time that I get to open that time capsule that was buried 50 years ago. We are going to have a ceremony at 1 p.m. I know for some reason Google is saying 12, but at 1 p.m. here in downtown Columbia City in front of City Hall on Saturday, July 4th, we are opening the 50-year-old time capsule. And I hope that you'll come down, that you'll bring your lawn chair. I don't anticipate that the ceremony will be super long, but, and here's why I say but, then once we open our time capsule, everyone's going to walk across the courthouse lawn to a new time capsule that we are going to be placing onto the county government or onto the courthouse square. There's going to be a new time capsule that will be planted there. And I think you're going to want to be a part of history. I think you're going to want to take the time. Again, 1 o'clock, I would imagine we may be done by 2 o'clock-ish. So take a 1 hour block out of your day on July 4th on your holiday, come downtown, see those historic events happen. And if you're really quick and you're watching this on live stream, Historical Museum is accepting letters from the public to be put into that time capsule until 4 p.m. today. So if you have a moment, jot a few notes down, write a letter to the future, whatever the case is, and get it over to the Historical Museum by 4 p.m. tonight. Tonight being June, 12th, by 4 p.m. Okay? Now, I've said all that stuff. I'm going to answer some of these questions. I know it's not financially feasible to continue the sidewalk from Morsh's to Bowen Center. Perhaps they'd be able to put a crosswalk from Parkview Hospital over. Thanks, Tammy. I appreciate that. I do think that there's a way we can do it. We have had conversations. I'm not saying it's necessarily in the plans, but I do think that there is a way in which we can potentially extend the sidewalk down there. We were chatting about it. I fully understand what you're talking about. And it would be up to, so the challenge is we're working with a couple of different governments, right? You talk about city government, but you're also talking about that's within the state of Indiana's right of way because they handle State Road 205, which is what that is. So it definitely would be a partnership thing, but I appreciate that. That is definitely something that that we can chat about. So Carrie said, I noticed you said Gettysburg. Yes. Thank you for that, classmate. Yes, fifth grade Mr. Lentz would be so proud that I said Gettysburg and not Gettysburg. Appreciate that very much. I'm glad you caught that. I think I maybe only people that have went through Mr. Lentz's fifth grade Gettysburg project probably calls it Gettysburg. Everybody else calls it Gettysburg. So appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, so to wrap all the America 250 thing up, at least for right now, I just want to encourage you, be a part of history. Come to the Stars, Stripes, and Symphony. Come to Morsh's Park and enjoy all the stuff that happens on July 3rd. And then also on July 4th, be a part of the time capsule opening and closing. We're excited to have people there. We are going to open up the time capsule. Oh, one more thing I'll say about time capsule. We're going to open up the time capsule. We're going to show some of the things that are inside of it. Then all of the documents that are in, all the materials that are inside the time capsule, we are going to give to the Historical Museum because they are historical artifacts. So if you wrote a letter for that, thank you. Understand you're not going to be getting it back. It is a historical artifact in our community, and so the Historical Museum will be keeping it. Now, there may be an opportunity for you to be able to get a copy of it or something like that. That is between you and the Historical Museum, but I will tell you that all of the documents and all of the materials inside the time capsule will go to the Historical Museum afterwards. It'll be on display there in some way, shape, or form. So that's kind of a cool thing, but I just want to let you know because I have had some questions about that as well. Okay, miscellaneous updates. Sign up for rave alerts. If you've not done that yet, you're missing out. You can sign up for all the things like, is the Aquatic Center going to be open today? Is it at capacity? I don't think it is yet, by the way. It is going to be open today, or it is open today actually by now. When is the next lunch with the mayor? What's happening with utility rates? What is all those kind of things? What emergency situations, road closures, all those stuff. So sign up for rave alerts on your phone or to your email. You can go to our website, columbiacity.net, sign up for all of that stuff. Be a well-informed citizen. The next limb pickup is happening on the week of July 6th. Please have your limbs to the curb before July 6th in order to ensure pickup. Whitley County Solid Waste is hosting a tire amnesty event from July 6th through July 17th. You can bring up to 25 car and passenger vehicle truck tires. So 25 car truck tires maximum to the facility. I do think that they'll be a little flexible with that because we have a certain dollar amount. I shouldn't say we. The solid waste district has a certain dollar amount. It's a grant. But there is prohibition on like semi truck tires and things like that. But if you have 25, like up to 25 normal car or small truck tires, that's an opportunity to get rid of them at no fee. US 30 lane closures, if they're not happening today, they will probably happen next week. That's what they tend to do. They tend to wait. It tends to be bad timing. Let's just say it that way. For the US 30 bridge reconstruction, so that is a Indiana Department of Transportation project, and I anticipate they're going to do one side of the bridge, then the other side of the bridge. So, suggest having lots of patience. I suggest when that closure happens, consider coming through town, which I know is going to make town busy. Just consider alternative routes because you may not want to be on the backups that US 30 is going to have when they do that project. JFL, the Junior Football League, has early bird signups happening now from now until, I didn't write it down. I think it's from now until maybe the end of July or something like that. That's for students from 3rd grade through 6th grade. You can call the park office if you have questions about that. Did have a couple more things that popped up here. Let's see what there is. When will the new time capsule be opened up? You might have mentioned it, but I missed it. Oh, I didn't mention it. Thank you, Carrie. The obviously old time capsule will be opened up on July 4th. The new time capsule will be opened up 50 more years later. So it'll be in 2076. We will open up. Oh, wait. I will be dead by then. I'm pretty confident. By 2076, whoever's there, whoever's here in 2076 will open up the time capsule. That's the current plan. And so, Carrie, you'll probably be around 2076. I won't, but yes, that'll be the new one. Chris says, any updates you can share about some of the vacant stores around town? Walgreens. I saw someone working in the old Ozar's store. Anyone coming to the former barbecue storefront? I don't have updates on any of those. I'll say I know we have had we being city and county have had conversations regarding the Walgreens building, just making sure that there was I think there were some questions from the actual owner of the property about some zoning stuff and things like that, which we've gotten them all that information. I don't know what that means, so I can't tell you anything more about the Walgreens building because I don't know. The Ozara's, I have heard there's something happening there, but I've not heard any specific details, so I can't answer that. Former barbecue storefront, so barbecue 1897 barbecue moved to the former Van Buren event center. So they are there now. If you can't tell by the huge B and Q in the window, they are there now. I do not know what is going to go in there. So I will tell you that I mentioned it during our city council meeting this past week, actually on Tuesday afternoon. The city and the owner of the property north of Walmart did do a presentation to the Regional Development Authority for basically for a grant to help with the infrastructure cost of that for the development of that property, and it went really well. And so I'm hopeful that we'll continue to get that moving. I think that will happen. I think that you will see dirt moving on that before the end of the year. So that's probably the best development update I have. I know Valvoline is now open. And I know there's some different downtown shops that are going to be doing some different, well, I know like Chibo is doing some kind of an event of some sort. You have to buy tickets for that. I am honored that, as I mentioned before, that I'm the Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, or AIM, used to be Indiana Association of Cities and Towns. I'm the AIM president this year, and so I will be hosting the AIM Board of Directors event here in the city. And so I think at the end of July, if you see a kind of a tent go up in downtown, just know that's me. We're excited to bring people from across the state of Indiana here to our community to enjoy our restaurants and to spend some time touring Columbia City. So I'm excited to host that. Just in case you wonder, that, like I said, that's very end of July that we're doing that. So, so there's a message from Cynthia that says, "Say no to data center in Whitley County." That is not in my wheelhouse. We don't have room in the city of Columbia City anyways for a data center. And I know Whitley County is doing a listening session on that. So that's where I'm going to leave that issue for sure. So a couple other things on the miscellaneous because I'm running out of time. Aquatic Center is open. Please see the schedule on either the park or the Aquatic Center Facebook pages or on our website, columbiacity.net. We are looking for a full-time laborer at the water department. Applications will be accepted through June 15th at 3 p.m. The newest edition of City Scene, which is our quarterly newsletter to residents and customers is on our website. Check it out at columbiacity.net. Again, I'm going to direct you a lot to the website today. But that city scene is full of lots of different things. I do talk about the America 250 project happening as well. So there, if you missed any of the America 250 stuff, certainly you can see our Facebook pages, but I really suggest getting a hold of the city scene newsletter on our website. Fireworks reminder. We are in the season where fireworks are now being used. However, they're not supposed to be used. So, as a reminder, city ordinance, because of state ordinance or because of state law, is this. Fireworks, meaning consumer fireworks, are allowed to be used between June 29th and July 9th from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., except on July 4th, where it's allowed from 10 a.m. to midnight. Okay? Reminder, you need to be 18 to use fireworks in the city limits, and don't harm property or others, especially yourself. I just want to throw that out. There's always an argument every year about the city allows too much fireworks. The dates that I just gave you are all mandated by the state of Indiana to allow fireworks, whether you're pro firework or anti firework. Just know this is what's mandated by the state of Indiana. We do have some additional dates that the city does allow, like Memorial Day and Labor Day. And then I think we also are mandated around the New Year's time frame as well by the state. But generally speaking, that is the rules on fireworks. All of that is also posted on our website if you have questions about that. Just be a good neighbor. That's all I'm going to ask, is be a good neighbor. Got a question that says, what do they plan to put north of Walmart on that property? About 2/3 of it is going to be residential housings. Try this again. Houses. 2/3 of the property is really the western 2/3 of the property is going to be housing. The eastern third is probably going to be resident or commercial. It just kind of depends. So that's the current plan. The initial plat of the property was already approved by the Plan Commission, but secondary plat has not been filed to my knowledge at this point. Maybe it has been. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the plan at the moment. Okay, upcoming events. We're going to power through these. Tonight, Whitley Arts Partnership is presenting Moana Jr. at 7 p.m. at Columbia City High School. Next week, June 16th through the 20th, is the Old Settlers Days Festival here in downtown Columbia City. Again, that means you're not going to be able to get on Van Buren Street from Main Street all the way to Walnut. So you can get north and south on Walnut. You can get north and south on Main Street. You can get east and west on Jackson or on Market, but you can't get in between those areas in downtown. But I would ask, I know a lot of the businesses close during this coming week. I would ask those businesses that are open, consider still shopping, still using them, park outside the boundaries, walk in. It's going to be fine. Everybody can get through it. And Old Settlers hopefully will be a great event as always. Lots of work is being put into it by the Old Settlers Committee. I know the music acts are going to be great. A lot of good stuff is going to be happening. So Old Settlers is next week. June 19th. City Hall is closed for Juneteenth because we follow the federal holiday schedule. June 20th is the Cleveland Township Fire Department Ice Cream Social at 4 p.m. June 20th is also the American Legion Old Settlers Day Festival Parade, 6 p.m. As always, basically starts, officially speaking, it starts at North Street and Main Street, travels south to Ellsworth Street, where it then will turn back. So yeah, go down all the way down Main Street, turns east on Ellsworth, and that's kind of where the parade ends. So be on Main Street if at all possible. Lineup is happening at Eagle Park as well as on some of the surrounding area streets there. June 23rd, the Be Wild live animal event is happening at Morse's Park at 6 p.m. July 2nd is the Star Stripes and Symphony event. July 3rd is Independence Day celebration at Morse's Park. July 4th is the Independence Day time capsule opening at 1 p.m. July 4th is also a chili cook-off at the Old Fort Motorcycle Club benefiting the Buddy System. July 10th is the next lunch with the mayor. Mark your calendars. No special guest that time. That'll just be me and you chatting. July 17th through the 23rd is the Whitley County 4-H Fair. August 1st is the 90-year celebration at Reinhold's Furniture from 8 to 10:30. August 1st is the Wheels of Whitley County car show at 5 p.m. And August 7th is First Friday. That is all I have. I'm sure there's more than that on the calendar for lots of other people as well. I'm going to do one last check, make sure there's no other questions. It doesn't appear there are any more questions. So thank you for tuning in to this Lunch with the Mayor program. As always, I very much appreciate you. Stay cool this summer. Obviously, it's been hot the last couple of days. It is supposed to dip, I think, a little bit. Thank goodness. But please stay safe, right? If you have kids out there, just make sure that you're checking in with them and all that kind of stuff. Stay safe if you're out and about, whether you're walking or biking or whatever. We wanted this to be a safe and enjoyable summer. I know it's going to be a great one. We got so much planned, especially in the next month. And I hope that you will join us for all of the America 250 things. I'm excited about it to celebrate the semi-quincentennial celebration for our country, and I hope you are too. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you can get a hold of me at rdaniel@columbiacity.net or calling my office 260-248-5111 or getting me at Mayor Ryan L. Daniel on Facebook. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next time on July 10th. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.